Is shipwrecked kicking your butt? Flooding taking over everything you know and love? Tired of your base not being good enough? Worry not, today's video is going to be about simple but effective base design. Much like my base design guide for ROG and DST, I highly encourage you to install the Geometric Placement mod on the Steam Workshop. This mod makes keeping things neat and tidy that much easier. In Shipwrecked, you'll want to find a place to call home quickly as hurricane season is right around the corner. Hurricane season will bring many challenges upon an unprepared base, such as wind, rain, lightning, and more. Once you've found an island that you wish to inhabit, it's time to set up shop. This time around, Fling-O-Matics are not 100% mandatory since during dry season there is no combustion. Nothing will randomly catch fire unlike an ROG. You will however need to note that crops do still wither, so if you wish to prevent this, Fling-O-Matics are still incredibly useful. A chimenea is essential to surviving early on. Wind and flooding will have no effect on this fire, and that is incredibly important. You can make a chimenea of your own using 2 limestone, 2 sand, and 2 logs. I would recommend placing one near the center of your base so you have a light source that covers where you'll be spending most of your time. Don't forget your endothermic fire pit either. This isn't necessarily something that you'll immediately want to prioritize, but it is a useful thing to have in your base just in case. Unlike the chimenea, this fire is very susceptible to wind and flooding, but you don't need it outside of dry season. Lightning rods are going to be more important now than ever. During hurricane season, lightning is going to be insanely common. If you do not have a lightning rod in your base, you're going to suffer the consequences. I personally like to keep my lightning rod about 8 pitchfork tiles apart at most. This has always worked well for me. Grass tufts, saplings, and berry bushes have always been a great part of anyone's base. With the introduction of bamboo and viney bushes, you now have 2 additional resources that will be needed. You'll want to use a shovel to dig up about 20 tufts and saplings, alongside 10 bamboo, berry, and viney bushes. Bring these back to your base and place them down. I like to put these resources off to the side of my base since I don't want to have a Fling-O-Matic near my fires. Be sure to fertilize your grass, bamboo, berry, and viney bushes as these require fertilization to begin producing resources. When you happen to have the resources to make yourself a Fling-O-Matic, I would highly suggest placing one in the center of your freshly planted farms. Dry season will cause all of these resources to wither if you don't make use of a Fling-O-Matic. A palm leaf hut, while not mandatory, is still very useful, especially in the early game. This will cost you 4 palm leaves, 4 bamboo, and 3 rope. Place your palm leaf hut next to your chimenea. Why is that, you ask? Since you'll gain 100% rain resistance while hiding underneath it. Filling your chimenea means you'll dry off at an accelerated rate. Hiding under a palm leaf hut in dry season will also prevent you from overheating. A functional kitchen is going to be just as important as ever. Using 2 gold, 1 cut stone, and a gear, create yourself an icebox to slow down the spoilage of your food. I like to place my icebox in the center of a tile, just like this. Now, you'll need something to cook up all the delicious seafood you'll be finding while you're out gathering resources. Crockpots are beyond useful. My personal preference is to place 5 crockpots around the icebox, just like this. You could use more crockpots. You can even use less. However, this is what has always worked well for me. Crockpots placed around an icebox make it incredibly easy to make mass amounts of food, as you can place food directly into the crockpots from the icebox's inventory. Ice makers are definitely something to look into if you have some additional resources to spare. With 1 thermal stone, 5 bamboo, and 2 electrical doodads, add an ice maker to your kitchen. Ice makers will convert fuel into ice, which can in turn be stored in an icebox forever. This means you can use ice whenever you'd like to create meatballs, banana pops, or whatever else you choose to use it for. Drying racks are a very useful weapon in your cooking arsenal. Using 3 twigs, 2 charcoal, and 3 rope, place a handful of drying racks around your base. Drying racks will extend the life of your meat and give them tons of added benefits. You can also dry seaweed to increase its shelf life and receive minor benefits to its hunger value. Storage has always been very useful, but now chests have an even larger role. Some items will blow around in the wind. This can cause you to lose items to things like lightning, lure plants, neighboring monkeys, and much more. You'll want to be absolutely sure to keep as many things as you can tucked away in your chests at base. One of the most important things you'll want to be aware of in Shipwrecked is flooding. Puddles will randomly spawn on land during monsoon season and periodically expand, so you want to be aware of these when it comes to building up your base. Flooding will cause many of your machines such as alchemy engines, ice boxes, crockpots, ice makers, etc. to cease functioning. Fire pits will also become drastically less efficient if they're bogged down with a puddle. You can combat this by creating man-made turf and placing it in your base. Pay close attention. Puddles cannot spawn on man-made turf, but they can flood onto man-made turf. You won't have any puddles originate in the center of your base if you've replaced the turf, but you'll still have to combat puddles using sandbags unless your entire island is comprised of man-made turf. Now you should have a base that is capable of getting you through the darkest of times in Shipwrecked. Things will definitely be slow going at first, as it is a bit harder to gather resources in Shipwrecked compared to ROG. Remember, there are always multiple ways to go about creating your base. This is just a guide to help newer players out there, or people who are still having trouble with Shipwrecked, to get started. I do hope you guys all found this video useful and entertaining. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave some feedback and offer suggestions for new tutorials in the future. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.